This episode of Q Point Podcast is pre-recorded, produced and sponsored by Karina Quirk, broker at Next Home Experience.
Different views.
I know your story.
From different Q's.
Incredible job.
He's David Quirk.
You brought it up.
And she's Karina Quirk.
Imagine.
This is
Q Point.
Joining us now in studio is candidate for Bangor City Council, Pastor Terry Dinkins. Welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we appreciate it.
Yes.
So for those that may not know you, can you tell us about your history?
Yes, actually, I grew up in Bangor. My dad was in the military. We moved to Bangor when I was 10 years old and went to school in Bangor. Graduated from Bangor High School in 79. So I've worked in Bangor or Brewer for most of my life. Lived in the area for the last 55 years. And I love Bangor. It's a really good city.
Now, you've founded a church. Can you tell us about this?
Yes. Back in 2013, we planted a church called the Mansion Church. And we were renting places in the city to have services and a meal. We really was working with the homeless and those who were coming out of incarceration was really our target audience that we wanted to minister to. And then in 2017, we got connected with Crosspoint Church. They took us in as an outreach church from their church. And then we planted the church on Center Street in 2018. We got that building. It was the old Bangor Floral. It used to be a church. It was a church way back in the late 1800s. But we decided to bring it back as a church. And then we've been there ever since 2018, serving the community.
Now, you take in the homeless, right?
Yes. So we do a warming center. So back in 2020, when COVID hit, we decided to open up our building to be a warming center because the shelters were shutting down. It was early March, still very cold out there in the streets. But the only thing that was kind of sad was we could only take 10 people in at that point. The city came and the code enforcement said, yeah, you can open up as a warming center, but you can only have 10. So I had 30 to 40 people in my parking lot every night, and I had to decide who was going to be coming into the doors. The elderly and the women we would take.
Wow, that must have been tough.
It was very tough at that time. But then the next year it opened back up that we could have more. So we've been doing it every year since, so 6 years.
How many do you have now?
We would run between 20 and 30, and it depends on the night. If it's really cold, those numbers could go up. But typically between 20 and 25.
Do you have restrictions?
We do. We have rules. We give the rules to the folks when they come to the door, have them read them, explain the rules to them, have them sign off on the rules, and then they're welcome to stay. They come in at 6. We have a hot meal for them. They can take a hot shower. We have clothes and different things we can give them, supplies, backpacks, whatever they need to go back out on the street. They can stay all night, and then in the morning around 6, we feed them breakfast, and then they leave at 7 in the morning, and we do that for 5 months.
So what do you see over the last 6 years? What has changed?
What has changed is more homelessness. I would say more on our streets, more people coming from out of town, and actually we see people from out of state coming to Bangor. I do see more drugs, more use there, mental illness, severe mental illness. We see a lot of that too. I just see it increasing every year, which is really sad to say.
Why do you think they're coming from out of state to Bangor, Maine?
That's a very good question. My thought, remember when they opened Ramada Inn as a shelter? I think the word got out, especially in New England. Go to Bangor, they have a motel, Ramada Inn, they can take you in. I think that is part of it, but I don't know. Why would someone from the South come to Maine during the winter? I don't understand that part.
So why are you running for city council?
To do some changes, to work together, to help to make some changes, especially the drugs on our street. We, maybe not every day, but I can drive through the city of Bangor and see people shooting up in our streets. Or drug deals. I don't think that's a city that I want to be a part of anymore. So I thought about it, prayed about it, and I said, I think I need to step up to the plate and run for the council. I've been working with the homeless for many years, past incarceration, or we still go into the jail and do ministry there. So I know a lot of folks from the streets, and I think it's important for us to try to make a difference. And I think I can bring that difference to the council.
So what have you heard about the homeless committee that the city of Bangor has?
I haven't heard much about it. I know there's 9 people on that committee. I think I only know one person on that committee. It's very interesting that they brought this committee together. I hope they come up with some good ideas. I have no idea. But there is a city employee, Bruce Hughes. I don't know if you know him, but he's the homeless coordinator for the city of Bangor. And Bruce used to be the director at Hope House for many, many years. And I think he has the right position now. And I work with Bruce. Like I talk to Bruce quite often about the homeless. We'll see what happens from that committee. I think they just started maybe a couple of weeks ago. I think they've only had one meeting.
What do you think about the needle program?
Well, I did a little research. As we do the warming center, we do searches as people come in and we find needles and backpacks on the person. lots of needles. I've had needles around the church. We do outreach on Wednesday evenings. We find needles everywhere in our city. So there's 2 nonprofits that pass out needles in our city. Between October of 24 to October of 25, those 2 agencies passed out 350,000 needles on our street. That just blew my mind when I read that. 350,000. That's a lot of needles. So I know Governor Mills changed that in 2020 when COVID hit. It used to be 1 dirty needle for 1 clean. So if you brought 5 in, you get 5 back. But she changed the law on that so people can get as many as they want. I've seen people on the street with 400 to 500 needles in their backpack. That just blows my mind that they would pass out that many needles to people. So think of that number, 350,000. Maine itself, somewhere around 3.5 million that same time. So Bangor alone had 10% of the needles in our state.
So what will be your priority if you are elected as one of the next Bangor City Councilors?
I think we need to stop the drugs. If you stop the drugs, the needles go away. You see people openly shooting up drugs on our streets or making drug deals. I think drugs is a big thing. Of course, the homelessness, we've been talking about this for years. I think I can bring some ideas there. The severe mental illness. Some of the folks that we see at the Women's Center, I've seen the last 6 years. The same people. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor. But I'm telling you, there's severe mental illness on our streets. For instance, there's a gentleman that's come to our Women's Center. January, February, March, 3 months. He was arrested 18 times. 18 times. I know him. I've seen him chase after vehicles. He actually took a weapon to a business downtown. So he's violent, but he has, my observation, he has severe mental illness. So I think we need to help those people who are suffering on our streets with their mental illness. We know that years ago, Dorothy Dix had many hundreds of people. Now, I'm not saying to take and put everybody in Dorothy Dix, but what I am saying is to get the help that they need. Maybe they do need to go to Acadia or Dorothy Dix for a time to settle down, to get maybe the right meds. I'm not really sure. I'm not a doctor, but to get them stable and then try to get them from there into some type of living arrangement, some type of housing. So mental illness, I think, is a large number of people in our community that's walking the streets with severe mental illness.
So we've had Chelsea Linz on. She's going to be our next DA for Penobscot and Piscataquis counties. She doesn't have an opponent. And she stated that they're not in jail long enough to get the stability that they used to get because of the cashless bail, or for whatever reason, they're just let right back out. Now, you have experience with the jail. You're a chaplain.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, I've been the chaplain since 2017, done ministry there for over 20 years. So yes, we do see that they're not there long, but there are quite a few that's there. I think right now there's well over 150 in Penobscot County Jail. I think they just go in, they get maybe over the weekend or maybe even a day and they're out. Like this gentleman I'm talking about, 18 times in 3 months. And I know there's others even more than that out there, but that's one that I tracked for 3 months. I think that the jail has become a place to house the mental illness, the severe mental illness. I know Sheriff Troy Morton talks about how the facility has changed over the years. Now they have different things they have to deal with. We also have folks in the jail that's on methadone or Suboxone. I think that's a big number also, that's residents at the county jail. So they have to deal with that on a daily basis. I just think that we need to help the severe mentally ill folks out there. How does that look, or what does that look like? I think really you need to change some laws in the state of Maine. I think it goes to the legislator, the senators, and I think that's one way to start that process to help those who are severe mentally ill.
So obviously Bangor has high property tax. What's your solution for that?
Pro-business. Bring more business to the city. I am pro-business. I used to be a business owner myself many years ago, but I also manage a business. So I know how to do a P&L. I know how to do a budget. I've worked for an armored car company for the last 27 years. So I am pro-business. We need to bring more business. I just got my tax bill. I think we all just got our tax bills, right? So I just moved to Bangor last year, and my property value went up $56,000 in 1 year. I thought that was quite high for 1 year. So yes, my taxes went up. I think every politician, I'm not really a politician, but always talks about lower taxes. Everybody talks about that, but we need to do it. We need to set a budget. We need to follow the budget, and we need to bring the property tax down because I think a lot of people are very discouraged, like last week when we all got our tax bill. It was very high. It continues to be high.
Ours increased as well.
Yes.
You're not alone there.
I think everybody's did.
Yes, because I think they did a evaluation, right?
They did.
Upgrade.
They
Yeah.
did, but the evaluation
Yeah.
never got completed. Did you hear about that? It
No.
didn't
No.
get finished. If you look at your tax bill, it will tell you about that on the backside.
We didn't get to the backside.
Yeah.
We were shocked with the front side.
That was enough, right?
We didn't dare to look at the backside. We thought it might be more.
Oh, yes, but I don't think they completed the evaluation that they started last year. That's what I heard.
Interesting. We'll have to look into that.
Yes.
So the other thing we hear a lot from not only business owners but residents is they no longer feel safe, especially downtown Bangor. Do you hear that?
Oh, yes, I hear that, and I also see that. I'm pro-police. I'm a big advocate for the police. I think they have a really, really tough job. But I think we need to give them the tools and the ability to keep our streets very safe. I was listening to a lady at one of the council's meetings. Maybe you watched it yourself. She's a school teacher, and she said that she lived 3 blocks from the school, and she'd walk to school as a school teacher, and that she's been attacked twice, and now she has to drive to school. That's not the Bangor I grew up in, but I want the Bangor back that you could walk to work, or the children can ride their bicycle down the street. I don't think that's happening today in our streets, so I think we need to make it safe on our streets for people to want to come to Bangor. We have a great city, and I love the Bangor area.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I used to ride my bike from Hamden to Bangor High School. I had friends there, so after school, I'd ride my bike in and back.
I don't mind going out on the streets myself because I know a lot of the folks, but I don't know if I'd really walk the streets at night in downtown Bangor by myself. I don't think I do that.
Well, we've also heard stories of people going into the grocery store and either making a salad at the salad bar or just grabbing food and just walking out, and they don't even call the police anymore.
Yeah, it's sad. We need to have safer streets, for sure.
We've had Troy Morton on here, and some of the commissioners have been on, and we've talked about the need for the new Penobscot County Corrections Facility. What is your position?
I believe we need a new facility. Yes. I've been going into that jail for over 20 years, and it needs change. I don't think it's safe for the residents or the staff there. I know Troy has been a big advocate to get a new jail for quite a while now, and I agree that we do need a new facility in our area. Because we house out, I think the last number I heard was $2.5 million is the cost of the county to house people in different facilities. Also, there's something else. When you get arrested and go to jail, you lose your main care. And then Penobscot County residents pick up the tab on that, which I disagree. I think they should not lose their main care while they're just incarcerated. So that's another bill that is added to the Penobscot County residents. I'm a big advocate for a new jail, yes.
You are listening to Q Point Podcast. I'm Karina Quirk, co-hosting with my husband, David Quirk, and we are having a conversation with candidate for Bangor City Council, Pastor Terry Dinkins.
So I'm sure you've heard about the housing crisis that we do have here in Bangor. Do you have any solutions for that?
Solutions, yeah, affordable housing. I think that's important that we have that. I have heard that a lot, that we don't have enough homes for people to live in. I have a story of a man that became homeless. I would say it was probably a couple of years ago. He had called me up, and he was being evicted that day. He was living in Old Town. He was on disability, Social Security disability, and he was getting a check for around $1,000 a month. His rent was like $800, and he had lived there for 3 years. And then all of a sudden, the landlord raised his rent to $1,400. So that's why he got evicted. Of course, he waited till the day he got evicted to contact me to see how we could help. Maybe if he would have called me a little earlier, we could have done something for him. But I ended up picking him up in Old Town, and I dropped him off at an encampment in Bangor. I know the rents are high. I understand why the rents are high, but I think we need to figure out how we can have more affordable housing for the folks out there. I think there are some out there, but I think we need more. I don't think we have enough units actually in our city to cover everybody to live right now. So I would like to see more building projects, more apartment buildings or homes to be built in our city. And again, that will help our tax base.
Do you think it may have something to do with the code enforcement or something that we could do differently with code enforcement?
I would look at that to see what we could do to change to help the builders to want to come to Bangor to build. I think that'd be something to look into, yes. I have no idea really why aren't we seeing a lot of construction in our city. There's got to be a reason. So I need to dig into that to find out.
I'm sure you saw where Maine ranks very low as far as education, and we do have a few schools in Bangor. Do you have any suggestions on that?
I wonder what happened. That would be my question. How did we go from, I think we were like the top 5 in our country. Now we're in the bottom 5, something like that. What happened? Why did this happen? I guess that would be my question. I think teachers are very important. Teachers are very valuable in our community. I support the education of our children, of course. I went to Bangor High School. I went to all the schools in Bangor, and I love my teachers. I still can remember all their names, even though it's so far back. I think it's something that we need to look at and see what happened to our school system in Bangor. It's kind of sad to see where we are. Not just Bangor, it's the state of Maine, right? The whole state.
So at the end of your first 3-year term, saying you were elected, what specific results would you like Bangor residents to see?
That's a good question. I would say I would hope we would have less homelessness, less needles on our street, safer streets in our city, a community to work together to solve the issues. I'm one of 9 on the council, but I think it's a community thing. I think there are some really good things happening in our city. It's not all negative. I know there's a lot of dedicated people out there working really, really hard trying to help our city. I just think that we continue to do that, to continue to work better together, well together. But I would like to see lower taxes, more business, and a more vibrant city. I would love to see people wanting to come to Bangor, to experience the Bangor life. I would like to see a difference that way. And hopefully, over the 3 years, we could see that change in more of a positive way. It just seems like really ever since COVID, things just seem worse. Why can't we stop that and turn that around for a more positive community so we would feel more safe and the children can go into our parks? Right now, I don't think the children are going to our parks. And we've seen the videos of the needles everywhere. I think there was one that was a needle found on a slide. So I would hope that our city people, our families would feel safer that they could go into our parks and to walk the Penobscot Stream. I met a family on the walk bridge a few weeks ago. They're from out of state. I saw the plates on their vehicle, but they were from out of state and they were walking across the bridge and I was meeting them. I said hi to them and they kept walking. But as soon as they got to the end of the walk bridge, they met a lot of homeless and then they just turned around and walked and got in their vehicle and drove off. I felt sad for them that they came just to go for a walk along the stream and they felt that they needed to turn around and walk back to their vehicle. I would hope that that would be changed, that people could walk our parks and walk the stream or go down to the waterfront and to use the great resources, our great city that we have, to be able to use that. That would be my goal.
Well, we do hear often that people go across the bridge to Brewer to walk their beautiful riverfront, which we could easily have here as well.
Why not? Why can't we have our waterfront to be beautiful just like Brewers? Why can't we strive for that goal to do that and work together to have a wonderful waterfront? Beautiful down there, right? I go down there and I sit and walk, and it's something that we could strive for to have that as Brewer does.
Well, I know David and I have spoken before. We'd love to see a marina down there, too. Wouldn't it be fantastic to have a marina?
I was just
marina
talking
with restaurants.
I just talking to, I don't know if you know David Craig. He has those apartment buildings right by the parking lot of Bangor High School.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So David's got a big old boat, and I just stopped in here to give him a couple signs the other day, and he was talking about that same thing about a marina. It'd be nice to have there.
Wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, look how beautiful Belfast is.
Yes.
Bucksport.
Bucksport, even.
Stonington.
Yes. I think it's a great idea.
I do, too.
I would support that.
Recently on our podcast, we've talked to Hannah Pingree and Joe Perry about maybe some of the nonprofits helping out with the municipality as far as contributing to the fire department or the police department or other areas to help bring down our property tax. Is that something, if you're on the city council, you would vote for?
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard the question, but I think I would support that. I think that's a good idea, actually, for them to help our tax base. Why not? They use our police, they use our fire, our rescue. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yes, and I agree. Maybe $500, $600, $1,000 each. Anything would help. So why should voters vote for you?
Change. That's the number one thing. If you're tired of what you're seeing in our city, as far as the drug use, the needles, the homelessness, not attracting the businesses, I think if you're looking for change, lower taxes, pro-business, if you're looking for that type of change, I would say you want to come along and support me as a candidate for Bangor City Council.
So on your campaign, are you door knocking or how are you getting out there?
Currently, we just got some signs, some lawn signs. Currently, we can only put them on private property, but I have about 30 out there. We just got our website, which is terryforbangor.com. Pretty simple there. We have an email, terryforbangor@gmail.com. We meet every couple of weeks with the volunteers that we have, but we're looking for more volunteers. We're trying to get the word out. Door knocking starts Saturday. we'll be out there doing that. We'll probably do some mailers in the community, different events, maybe walk the fair, just introduce myself to people, pass out business cards, things like that. But the word of mouth, I have 3 churches right now that has committed that they'll give me 5 minutes just to introduce myself and tell them why I'm running for city council. So there's different ways here on this podcast. I think it's important to get the word out. I did an interview with Maine Christian Civic League a couple of weeks ago. That's on my Facebook page, and it's also on my webpage. Yeah, we're just getting the word out.
So if somebody wanted to donate to your campaign so you can get the word out, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way is to go to our website, terryforbangor.com, and then there's a button there to donate. The max donation is $600 for individual, but that's the way you can do it there. And then we'll take those funds and buy signs. Signs are pretty expensive, actually, but different ways to get the word out. So donations, yes, we need donations.
Now, can businesses donate or is it just individuals?
Businesses can also donate, but they also have a max of $600.
Are you going to have some meet and greets around town?
Yes. I'm not sure when, but my Facebook, Terry Dinkins Facebook page, very active there. That's where I post everything. Also, will be on my website too. Some meet and greets. Of course, we got to get out there and meet people where they're at, knock on business doors, go into businesses, talk to them, knock on residents' doors and introduce myself. I have been in this area for a long, long time, so I think I know a few people, but there's a lot more. There's 17,000 registered voters in Bangor. That's a lot of door knocking.
That is.
That is, but I look forward to it. I look forward to meeting people. I want to introduce myself and to also hear back from them. On my website, I have a place for them to chat or to tell me some things that they may want to see changed. And I think that's important to hear what the people of Bangor want, not just what Terry wants. I pretty much know what I'm looking forward to try to do, but I think the voice of the people, I want to hear what they have to say and then do what I can to help them.
Well, I'd like to have you back on because I'm kind of curious what are people commenting on your page.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's been very positive so far, whether they look at it for a second or 3 minutes. A lot of my posts, anything to do with the city, around 10,000 hits. So,
that's great.
Yeah. And they may just look at it for a split second, but still I think there's a lot of traffic going on that page. I've had that page for a long time. So I have my own personal one, Terry Dinkins. Then I have one for the church. And then I have a group, a private group with the church too.
Now, if people want to learn more about the Mansion Church, how do they do that?
We have a Facebook page there. We also have a website, themansionchurch.org. We have an email, themansionchurch@gmail.com. We're right there on Center Street, 96 Center Street. Love to have you come. We have 2 services on Sunday. We have a 10 o'clock and a 5 o'clock. The 5 o'clock one, we have a meal after. We have a Bible study, prayer meeting on Wednesdays. We do some outreach. We have a lot going on there in that little church, but we're very grateful to have that building. And everything we say and do is to glorify God in everything that we do.
And that must be all funded by donations?
All donations. And we're very blessed. So we're starting a discipleship program in the basement of our church. We've built 2 rooms, one for staff, one for the residents will come move in there. It's a 9 to 12-month program. We are focusing on men coming out of the jail with opiate addictions. We're going to disciple them through the Bible. They're going to have devotions every day. They're going to work, but it's a 9 to 12-month program. And through that, we needed to have some upgrades in our building. So we needed a sprinkler system and a fire alarm system. And we've got that now in place. We had a gentleman that took care of that for us. So what a blessing that is to be able to house people in the church and to teach them the Word of God and to give them an opportunity to get back into society. What I see in the jail ministry, there's a lot of men and women who want that change. But when they get out, they go right back to the same environment that they were in. Then they end up going back to the jail. The recidivism rate in the state of Maine is like 60 to 70%. That's a big number. But if we can take them in for a year and disciple them, that gives them a chance. And then we're going to work with some landlords for them to go from our program into an apartment and then stay with them throughout that time and just be support for them as they get back in society again. So my goal through the discipleship program is to take these men that will be going through the ministry. They'll also will help our Warming Center. So I have volunteers that work the Warming Center because we need people to stay up all night. We have 2 staff overnight to make sure everybody's safe in the Warming Center. So these men will also be volunteers in that. So they will help us out with the Warming Center volunteer part. It's really going to help us. We have around 20 volunteers right now throughout the year that volunteer. I have people that will stay up all night. I have a couple that they do 2 nights a week. They come in at 9 o'clock and they stay till 7 in the morning to watch the people and make sure everybody's safe.
That's incredible.
That's going to really help us. Because sometimes it's a struggle with volunteers, especially March, that last month. People are dropping off. Like they've just been wiped out.
I bet.
They're burnt out. self included. I go on vacation April 1st.
Almost like a tax accountant.
Right.
I'm gone. April 1st, I'm out of here for a week. I go visit my grandkids.
Well, you know what it is? You're actually walking the walk instead of talking the talk.
Yes.
You can give actual on-the-ground experience as a candidate for Bangor City Council.
Yes, I worked with the homeless, the addict for many, many years, so I know their struggles. I also was an alcoholic myself for many, many years, for 20 years. And then finally the Lord showed up in my life, and that all changed everything back in 2000. So I just want to give back to the community and help people. I believe that's why we're here on the planet as people. We're here to help people, and whatever that looks like, but we need to do that and to glorify God.
I mean, when you get out of jail, being an addict, and you walk out that front door and there's no help there, it's hard to break what they're going through. So obviously your mission is very important to the city of Bangor.
Yes, I would actually pick them up at the door and bring them straight to the church, because I know what can happen between that building and the church building. So I would actually pick them up and bring them.
That's incredible. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thank the Lord. It's all about Him.
Pastor Terry Dinkins, candidate for Bangor City Council, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate this opportunity to get the word out.
Yes, thank you.
You've been listening to Q Point.
Follow us at qpointpodcast.com or on your favorite streaming app.
This is where you can get the news from the people who make the news.
Make sure to join us next time.
We hope you tune in.
Q Point Podcast invites guests and candidates from all parties to join the conversation. The views, information, opinions, and comments expressed during this program do not necessarily represent those of the host, Q Point Podcast, associates, affiliates, and CQRE LLC.
Thanks for being a part of the conversation. Catch every episode at qpointpodcast.com or wherever you stream. Tune in and tell your friends.